I was wondering if you could speak to how, as someone in the industry, you grow your skills.
I like to work with as many people as possible because every stage manager you work with has a different experience or different background or different way of doing things. And I steal absolutely everything I can from anyone I work with, like be it apprentice, ASM, stage manager, production stage manager. If there's something that I see that they're doing, I'm like, oh, great. Can you send me that document? Can you send me that piece of paperwork? I'm going to incorporate it into what I'm doing. I might not take the entire thing, but if there's an aspect of it that I see that's really working, I'll take that, add it into my paperwork. I also, working across platforms I mainly do musicals and opera now, but from straight plays to musicals to opera to dance, as Katie was saying, the job stays the same basically, but there's little tweaks in between. So you learn new skills, new ways of doing things that you wouldn't normally think about if you're only doing straight plays or only doing musicals. You just get to experience how to be more flexible and adaptive to different experiences, and then going across the country and working in different provinces that have different averaging agreements and touring, and everything adds new challenges, and you have to adapt new skill sets in order to meet those challenges.
Annie mentioned something that is so true, which is listening, is being aware. It's pulling back on yourself and just paying attention to what other people are saying, particularly, or doing. It's amazing how much you can learn just by
stepping back.
Yeah, pulling back, not reaching forward and trying to solve things and have opinions about everything, but just take some time to listen. And it was something I was not good at when I was an ASM.
Me too.
It was an acquired skill. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is exposure to other stage managers, what AJ's talking about. One of the great joys of the festivals of Stratford and Shaw particularly, but other festivals, is the interaction you have with other stage managers. Yeah. And you're seeing them working, you're hearing them talk about problems they're encountering in, not problems, but challenges, what's going on in their rehearsal halls. And you just silently are picking up clues about how things are being done.
For graduates who are in the industry and they can't land their first job, how do they grow theirs? What's some advice for growing skills?
Well, you don't have to do anything, but it's good to stay in touch with theater. It's really good to stay in touch with the people who were in your class. It's interesting to me when I meet apprentices, they often know a whole group of other apprentices that they are following and friends with, and there is a collective knowledge and skill and experience, and to stay connected, even if classmates are working and you're not in the business, if you stay connected with them, you will stay connected with the business. But I don't know, AJ, you have worked with a lot of young, new stage managers.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing as getting a job when you're working is just like staying in touch with people, asking to come shadow, and getting in a room and like meeting people, like coming to shadow on a show or just watching a rehearsal. Like the stage managers on the team are there and they're observing you, they're observing your behavior, they're observing your personality. And so you kind of get a sense, it's like, oh, if I had an opportunity, I might give that person a try, or lots of times on shows, unexpected PA positions come up and it's like, oh, well, this person was sitting in the room, they know the people, hire them. So just being in a room can sometimes get you a job. And then doing like what Katie's doing like independent or non-equity productions, they're always looking for people who have training.
But there is a lot of non-professional entertainment projects happening around the city and communities. And even if you can't get an equity apprenticeship, to go and work on a community theatre project for a bit is hugely valuable because it's the same skill set.
Yeah, I was finding a lot of the companies there's a lot of apprentices. Or at least I know there's a lot of people kind of competing for the same job. So if I didn't get an apprentice that I applied for that I thought I was really gonna get or something, I'd have to step back and be like, okay, what was the reason I didn't get the job? Like, why did they not hire me? As much as you don't want to kind of like self-deprecate or whatever, but you just got to figure out what the experience is or whatever it was that made you not get the job. I found with a lot of work that I've been able to get has just been through knowing people and talking and being really kind and going out to coffee, or just kind of if someone has a question you happen to know, give them the answer. Like, just things like talking a lot to people and getting connections. It's all connection based, I found. A lot of interviews that I've had and things like that, someone's been like, oh yes, I've heard about you from so and so, which is like pretty great. But I think just knowing people and talking to people, and if there's something you can talk to other stage managers and ask them what it is that makes them get the jobs that they get, and if you see someone that you want to get to where they are, ask them like, how did you get there, and things like that, and doing volunteer work that's
I was going to
not
ask,
paid.
like, sorry, do you think there's value in doing volunteer work?
Of course. I think especially, I mean, if you're in a place where you need money and you can't do the volunteer work, I totally understand. But if you can, if you're able to do volunteer work and you're not getting paid, try and think of what could replace your pay. So in terms of instead of getting paid, I get all these great connections, or I get to work with all these people, or I get a new experience, so I learn something new that I can then use in other jobs moving forward.
Well, I'm always wary of volunteer work. That's not the right way to put it, but I think especially young people have to be so careful about offering their services for free. And in our culture, in our city, this city, if someone's doing something, they should not expect people to work for nothing. Now, that said, people, if there are friends of yours, if there are people you know, people are doing independent projects for themselves, and they're asking their friends to come and help them achieve something, shoot a video, organize a workshop, present something. And of course, if they're your friend, absolutely, you contribute and you will learn by doing it. But I would say to young people, you do have to be careful you don't become known as unpaid labor.
Yeah.
And I think most theater companies have resources that they should not be expecting unpaid labor.